All right. Three dudes talking nonsense on a Saturday night. They're both above me. The guy to the left of me, my co-host, BrycethePrince. Or should I say affiliate BrycethePrince?
You're not pointing at me, you're pointing at CJ.
Yeah, you're pointing the wrong way.
This way. There you go.
There you go.
There we go.
And you bashed me like a month or two ago for doing the same thing. Now all I do is point down if I want to point to you.
And then the other person right here in the red is my good friend CJ Initial, also a streamer.
Yo, what's up?
He's just here because I don't know why he's here. I think it's because he and I were playing Halo last night. I'm like, hey, you just want to come on the podcast that we usually record Friday nights?
I was like, yeah, why not?
So that's why. Plus, we haven't had a guest in a while, so hey, we're all here for it. But I guess we can start with Halo. Halo was fun, and I haven't had fun in Halo in a while.
Halo was stupid fun. Like, people have come up with some awesome game modes in Infinite since they released like the games browser and stuff. It was way more fun than I thought it'd be. I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say the custom game browser is like really like low key. It's about as much fun as I've had in terms of multiplayer games since like Among Us. And I know that sounds like I'm overstating things, but like really.
I mean, that's kind of the state of multiplayer games, though, right? Like, they had maps where, you know, we were in a Walmart superstore at one point, Mario's Castle, like, played some Donkey Kong racing, dude.
That was the best one,
Mario
honestly.
Kart? Yeah.
I wish I recorded that because that was like the coolest map ever. Was legitimately the Mario Kart race from Mario 64. Like down to it, they got the cannon, which was the best part. Was the cannon. I don't even know how you make that.
Dude, those forgers are crazy.
And that came out in the last update. So, I mean, I guess
it's pretty recent.
I guess 343 did something good finally.
Finally. It's taken them a year and a half.
I still think the regular game modes are still fun as they are, but, you know.
They are fun.
I have nobody to play them with is my big problem most of the time.
Right. I mean, they're fun. Like, the gameplay's great, but I feel like when they launched it, they just didn't launch with enough stuff. Like, it was like, hey, here's 4 multiplayer game modes. And it's like, okay, cool. Where's Infection and custom games and all this stuff? And the people kind of just got bored. I know I did. Like,
I know when you and I were playing it kind of regularly, CJ, that was one thing we were talking about was just how the playlist was, where it was like, all of it was just kind of like all together. So there'd be times where it was like, we got Oddball like 2 or 3 times in a row, Capture the Flag 2-3 times in a row.
Right. And what's crazy is they had an amazing like multiplayer game chooser or whatever in MCC where you could choose like 4v4 or 8v8 or whatever, and you could choose if you want to play, you know, objective game modes or just Slayer or whatever. But they did this weird thing where they made it, there's like 4 playlists and a couple of them are like, you know, 2v2s and one's you have no say in what you're playing. And if you're like me and hate Capture the Flag, like it makes a third of the game suck. Like,
yeah, it really did.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, and I think the big problem is like with Bungie going exclusive with Sony.
Yeah, Sony got bought out by Bungie, or Bungie got bought out by
Sony.
Sony.
When that happened, they were like, "Well, we still want Halo games. Like, this is still a big moneymaker for us."
That's why
so they kind of just threw it in 343's lap, and 343, and ever since then they've been pushing 343 like, make a game, make it out, get it out. Like, I think Infinite took a long time to develop, even as it was.
Yeah, and I think they ended up restarting development at one point. Like, I think
they were like, as soon as there was a product that they could put out, they were like, all right, put this out.
Yeah. But all of them.
The problem was they put it out full retail.
Yeah.
And
no, didn't they drop? Like, I thought they dropped the multiplayer first.
And it was Valheim. I think they did for like a little bit, but
yeah, multiplayer came out like a month before, and it was
because that came out in December, right?
Yeah,
but I mean, even once they dropped like the campaign and everything in full retail, it was still not really ready. Like,
no, because they didn't drop co-op. They only dropped co-op recently,
and it's only multiplayer co-op too, like online.
It's not local, right? It's not.
Yeah, they don't have local co-op, which makes my wife mad.
No, because but the whole like every time like I've talked about this is like how many of us played Halo multiplayer split screen. Because that's how I did. I think that's how I did most of the Halos when they came out, except for 5, so I didn't play 5. But like 4, I played.
5 didn't have local split screen either.
Yeah, that's so I played because I played 4 split screen. I remember we got to the end, we were the guy I was playing with, my buddy Sean, who's like, I say he's old, but he's like 40. He's 10 years older than me. But because that last mission for 4, you're basically flying a space plane for whatever reason. And he stops, goes, "What did this become? Star Fox or something?" Because it made no sense of what was going on. It was just like, what is this? It's awful.
I think like ultimately for me, like with Halo, like the big problem I had, like Valheim is a game I've been playing on streams recently. It's still technically early access. Like they're telling you, look,
it's gonna suck.
Complete. No, it's not so much it's gonna suck. It's not complete.
You're gonna come across issues.
Yeah.
You're gonna get to the end and be like, is that it? Kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, the expectation is that they're working on it and that they're gonna get out more updates in the future. The problem is they put out Halo Infinite like, here's the game, and everybody and that ruined it, because like this season 3 update, like we've been saying, like it's really good, but there's not a ton of people to play it anymore because you kind of
hype has died down.
Like everybody had a really bad taste from that initial release and saying this is the full game, even though it's not, and we're still going to release a ton of huge updates in the future. It's like nobody wanted that.
I mean, and how often has it been bad mouthed by like other like YouTubers and creators? Like I think Mudahar, who's some ordinary gamers, has basically trashed it at every turn.
Right, and I mean, I can't really blame them. Like the initial release was terrible.
It was so bad.
You know, they haven't been 343 in general hasn't been kind of implementing kind of more current like content, like game modes when it comes to shooters. Like they're still stuck in this, 44, 6v6 sandbox arena shooter when, nowadays it's not really what's popular, with anyone, like a whole lot of people, unless you were from like the 2000s and then Halo 2, Halo 3.
Which is us.
Right, it is us, but like even a lot of people our age are playing Apex and Warzone and things like that, like, throwing a BR in there, like, going forward, worse, extraction but the shooters are going to be the big thing. Like,
you want to know what the crazy thing is, and maybe it's because like I mean you do too, but it's like I follow like, Dr. Disrespect, Tim, and then even Dr. Lupo are all like, shooters right now are just in this very bad repetitive like state where I think they were saying, I remember reading somewhere it was like Warzone 2 has like already fallen off the map and it's only been out for it came out. It has. Did it come out like did it come out late last year?
Yeah, it came out in November. The Warzone 2 is interesting. Well, it's more because they essentially took a lot of the good stuff from Warzone 1 and got rid of it. So it's more of they made the game worse with Warzone 2, and it's just not nearly as fun to play as.
Because I know everyone was saying it's like you might as well just go back to Caldera.
Right, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing now. Like they're going back to Warzone 1.
I don't know. Let's actually look. I'm actually curious if how is Warzone on Twitch right now?
Oh, I think it's. I don't know. That's a good question.
Warzone.
But yeah, it'll be. I hope 343 like they made some good updates and stuff, but
21.6k viewers. That's decent.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if they might lump them. They might lump them all together.
No, this is Warzone. Maybe Warzone and Warzone 2. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's. Oh no, it is. Oh no, technically it's Warzone 2, but I think they kind of just because Twitch is too lazy to kind of like. Separate the two, so it's going to be under that one umbrella.
It's much better than Halo Infinite, which is at 3.3k.
That's true, 100%.
Yeah,
but like for Warzone, for the longest time, it was top 3 consistently. Like it was just chatting, and every once in a while, like Minecraft would be above it in the Twitch directories. But now it fall into like what is it, like 15th? That's
well, I mean, compared to like
good. compared to where it was.
Well, I mean. Compared to Apex,
Warzone 1 was.
Compared to Apex, it's doubled. Apex is at 45. And then
Fortnite's doubled.
Fortnite's gonna be. Fortnite's only at 55, so even Fortnite's not exactly like killing it anymore. That's
because all the 8-year-olds are in bed right now. So
is PUBG still a thing?
Barely.
PUBG's got 5K. Wait, hold on. Let's really bring it back. We're talking about these old school games. How about H1Z1? Remember that game?
Super
12. Oh my god, dude! I remember H1Z. Dude, super.
Oh,
dude,
there's like one big streamer there. 19.2K from one stream. That's cool though.
what's that? Wait, how much is Mario Super? I'm just curious now. Mario Strikers 11. Jeez, and that came out like earlier this year too. Good lord.
I'm trying to think of oh, what has Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 ever settled down? Or do people still accidentally select that? Nope, they
actually select it. Yeah, because that's 228. That's definitely not normal. Isn't it like what is the new one?
It settled down from where it was because remember at one point it was like thousands and thousands.
Well, because people
Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, because people
we're talking Modern Warfare 2 as in the Xbox
base
360.
game.
Yeah, because everyone
the old school one.
Yeah, because they're hitting the wrong thing.
For a while, like everybody was accidentally selecting
Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, so Modern Warfare 2 is at 29K, almost 30K.
Didn't realize that the difference in the naming is Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare II.
Right, yeah. And at least with like in the like wait, the one with 29K, I think that's like the new Modern Warfare.
That's the new one, yeah.
Yeah, that is
yeah.
But everything on Modern Warfare 2 on the regular one
is all updated.
Yeah,
but you gotta remember too, like, how many people who pre-ordered it got it early and they got through the campaign. So everyone for like a good 5 days of streaming the campaign every chance they got.
Yeah, it's true.
But I mean,
I'm trying to see if I can find anybody that's actually playing. Well, oh, looks like somebody is playing one that's called Back in My Day.
Yeah. So, but you know what's even wild too, and this is like, I think this is just like the state of just looter shooters in general, is like, I don't mean to like throw salt in the wound, but like Borderlands 3 right now on a Saturday night, for everyone who loves it, only has 182 viewers. Let's just go down this water hole.
That's less than Terraria or Valheim.
No, because the problem with the biggest sort of problem with Borderlands, and even like all of them, because they're all gonna hover around the same, is if someone big, like there's only a handful. There's basically it's top heavy now, so like only a handful of people. Basically, like if the big people aren't on, so like if Moxie's not playing it. Moxie doesn't play it. K6 doesn't play it. Jolt. If none of these guys play it, they're dead categories. Or hell, even if Soccer doesn't play it, it's a dead category. And that was my biggest issue with Wonderlands when it came out, because I'm like, for whatever reason, 2K just can't keep a game going anymore. So like all these games just instantly just died. And despite what everyone's saying, I'm like, oh, well, it's not really what it is. I'm like, no, it is what it is. It was a crappy first DLC. I think they were supposed to do something in March and they never did, or I never saw like the actual product. So every chance they've gotten to fix it just never went. And which is why I think that everyone.
So how many did you say for Borderlands? Was it?
They're about 180, both. They're about the same.
Fallout 3. How many do you think are watching Fallout 3?
Fallout 3. I don't know. It's probably higher. If you're asking me, it's probably higher. So 200.
266.
Jesus.
To be fair, it's mostly 2 streamers.
No, that's normal. The whole thing is that's normal. Like Fallout 4 has got 972. Like it's not
That's what I'm saying though. Like how is Borderlands being so out?
It's top heavy.
Games that are years in the
because it's top heavy. Like CJ can tell you that they're top heavy categories.
Yeah, it's top heavy, but also I think there's with Fallout 3, for example, I think there's a nostalgia thing too. Like Borderlands 3 is still relatively new, so you probably have a lot of people playing Fallout 3 that are like, "Oh, I'm waiting for a game. Let's go play this classic, whatever."
Yeah, Borderlands
rather than
3 came out in 2019, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Before I started streaming, I had a ton of fun in Fallout 3.
No,
I still haven't finished Fallout New Vegas.
And the funny,
New Vegas is amazing.
And the fun,
I might stream Fallout 4 when I get there.
Because the whole thing with Fallout is it's more new because literally they gave Epics basically gave out the whole series for free.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still new, and I want to say Borderlands 3 was free for a minute.
Yeah, it was.
So I mean, like these games are like they're pumping them out, but it's just it's just unfortunately, like I think looter shooters are in a very bad spot. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
and it's not going to get
I
any
think
better
they need
anytime
to.
soon.
Yeah, there needs to be a new idea when it comes to looter shooters. Like there's been other looter shooter games that have come out and just like died off. Like in the last couple
What
years,
was
outside of like Borderlands or whatever.
wasn't it like
But
out?
it's all like
Wasn't
the same thing.
like Outlanders?
Outlanders. Is that the other one that
That
came
was
out
the one.
relatively recently?
Yeah, because I remember I got inside information. That's where all like the heavy Borderlands players were going when they got
Yeah, I
when they
remember
got
Moxie
tired.
was playing that
When
one.
they all got
at one
tired
point.
of Wonderlands, they all went to play Outlanders, and I'm like, why don't you play Destiny? That's probably closer to Borderlands.
Yeah.
But no one jumped on it. But I remember Outlanders, and I don't even think is that a thing anymore? I don't even know.
I think so.
Hey, what?
That category doesn't even exist on Twitch anymore.
Yeah, I know. Is it? Oh no, Outrider. Sorry.
Oh, is it Outriders? Okay, that
Yeah,
makes more sense.
and it's 49 viewers. So
Yeah.
I think it was Outright. Yeah, I think it was Outriders.
Dead game, L plus ratio.
That's every game, honestly, at this point. It's a weird state of gaming, I feel like, because there's not a lot.
I feel like we're all just like waiting for Starfield or, you know,
But what's come out this year?
whatever.
Like the only thing I'm like excited for, like I want to play outside the show, is like
Diablo
Resident
4.
Evil 4. Is like Resident Evil 4 because I'm not a Diablo guy.
Yeah. Yeah, at least for me, it's basically I'm waiting for Starfield and Diablo 4. Outside of that, it's like nothing new is really exciting to me.
You guys think Resident Evil 2 is doing anything like the old PlayStation video game?
They re-released it,
Curious.
so I'm sure
It is. It is. It's actually doing. Yeah, it's the re-release version too. Doing good. I loved watching my brother play the game as a kid, but yeah, no, Resident Evil 4 would definitely be boosting this, and it's also doing pretty.
I gotta step away really quick.
No,
I
it's
gotta
not even top heavy. It's
I got a splinter, so you
lots
two
of
like
random
keep
people.
entertaining each other for like 30 seconds. Let me get this splinter out.
That sucks.
So we gotta entertain each other. Sorry again about our original night for recording this.
Oh, it's all good, dude. You were crushing it last night. Like you were consistently had like what 7 to 10.
Yeah, something
Mario?
like that.
Yeah.
Mario tends to do pretty well. It seems like. I think part of what happened is DGR, who I'm in his Discord.
Mm-hmm.
He recently started he's trying to branch himself back out because for the past 4 years or so he's been like exclusively Mario Maker.
Gotcha.
And so he's trying to, I think, kind of like re-expand his horizons because I think he sees it as a good time because he's got people who are watching him for him.
Right, instead of for the game. Yeah.
But I think there are enough people that like watching the Mario Maker content and doing viewer levels and things like that. So me being able to step in on his self-promotion thing, his self-promotion channel on his
Discord,
Discord server, I think whenever people see it that I'm playing viewer levels, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go in there." Even though I suck at playing a lot of the viewer levels, they're like,
right.
"At least it's my level being played." Like,
Right, 100%. No,
I have gotten enough like random people who have started to return to my stuff, which is that I think is the most.
I mean, that's the whole point of it, right? Yeah,
where it's
that's
like
sick.
I'm finally getting some people who are like, "You're entertaining enough that I'm gonna come back and watch you again."
Right. I'm not just gonna pop in for that half hour and then leave forever. Like, no, that's sick, dude.
So, but yeah, and then
some of those.
Yeah, so that's why I got delayed last night. I just kept going, and I get really bad at with viewer levels. I need to like really come up with like a standard. Like I'm gonna play your level for 30 minutes or something.
Yeah, like start a timer or something. Yeah, because some of those look ridiculous.
There's so many of them where it's like I do it for like an hour and a half, and then I get to the end, and it's like, oh, I've played all these levels, and I'm 3 hours into my stream and have 5 people waiting to have their level played. And
right, yeah.
Most of them are also kind of fiddly levels that if I put another hour into it, I could probably accomplish it. But
100%.
I honestly, there's not that many levels where in my stream from last night of when we're recording this, there's not that many levels that I've ever felt so accomplished as to completing. There's this level
really?
at the end, and it just took like everything to get like to the end, and I was like, when I beat it, I was like, yes, I did it. And
Nice.
what was really funny was I had a prediction going up like, this is the last level, will I complete it? The only person who submitted a prediction was the person whose level it was, and they predicted I wouldn't complete their level.
Oh, really? They're
And
rooting
so
against you then.
I took their 20 channel points, and that's it. Like, that's literally all it was.
Still, there's that
Nobody else predicted
satisfaction.
anything, so nobody won anything.
Right.
It was just kind of funny.
That is funny.
But
yeah,
now that I'm doing more of those, and now that because that was my first time doing like any affiliate stream,
right,
and
yeah.
so that was I'm now thinking like, oh, I should do like almost every level I attempt, like I should do like a prediction thing to get more engagement in the community.
Oh, 100%. And that seems like a low hanging fruit almost in terms of like what to do predictions on. Like that's an awesome idea, especially with like those smaller communities. Like there's like a very hardcore subset of those games that like just love watching those games, and like it's easy to kind of to grab those dudes into your stream.
Talking about how he like has now started the over unders.
Basically, yeah.
Dude, those are fun. Like, so Bryce makes fun of me because I jokingly said I ripped off this bigger streamer named Daddy Dimmu. And he does that like for baseball games because he has a sponsorship with Underdog Fantasy where you can kind of do like actual parlays through fantasy with over unders and stuff.
Right.
So he'll do that like during his like stream because he doesn't have a lot of like point redeems, so he just makes like a gambling thing where it's like, oh, over or under 1.2 hits and stuff.
That's a good idea.
Which I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah, no, that's really fun.
So let's talk. Can we talk Trader Joe's? Because I was telling you this before we got into this because I'm livid about this. Do you have a Trader Joe's? Do you shop at Trader Joe's, Bryce? Like regularly?
Occasionally, yeah, but not very often.
So I have a theory.
The closest one for me is like 15 minutes away.
So, but I have a theory, and since CJ shops it regularly like I do, he can probably attest to this being either right or wrong. I've said this to my main friend group before, that Trader Joe's is the grocery store version of Target, where you go in for one thing and you leave with like way more things than you need.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. Especially because they have all that seasonal stuff.
Yeah, it's awful. Wait, what?
Well, that's what I was saying. I said the exact same thing. Why do you think they get the products they get? Like, where you like look at this and you're like, that looks super interesting. I should try that.
It's not even so much. No, because it's
like during the fall, you're buying like pumpkin Alfredo, like you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this for dinner this week on pasta.
Dude, their pasta is 99 cents a pound, man.
I know, it's ridiculous.
It's like, how do you have a profit margin with this shit? Oh, but this motherfucker, he got me. So he told me yesterday, so I'm like, I'm going to Trader Joe's. And he's like, oh, you gotta get these maple cookies. So what these cookies are is they're like,
pointed at me again, and you mean
him? This motherfucker.
I did it. This is my fault.
So I got a box of these maple cookies. They didn't survive the day between me and my mom. They did not survive because I don't think I've ever told you this. My favorite donut is a maple bar. So this is a problem.
If you want a good suggestion, I don't know if they're a seasonal item or not, but
don't you dare.
Trader Joe's has the Stroop waffles, that you can get, and I think they're like the little Danish.
Okay, yeah.
No, not Danish, Dutch treats. They're little circular, like crisps, basically, and they're basically like little cookies, like little waffle cookies.
I don't need more things, you know.
And so normally like you eat them like room temperature or whatever, and they come in a little tin and everything.
Oh, I've seen those. Those are awful.
I had never.
Sorry, hold on, not awful.
I'd had them before, but I had never done this before. You put them in the microwave for like 20 seconds, just to warm them up a little bit, and oh my gosh. So
Do you follow?
We got them for Christmas, and oh my gosh.
Do you follow
Dude,
like?
awesome.
Have you ever stumbled like the rabbit hole of like food TikTok or Instagram reels?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, oh my god,
it's the worst.
There's a guy who like he'll show
sitting there like I should try everything.
There's one guy, I think his name is like Beardo Weirdo or something. He streams like Dead by Daylight and stuff, but he's a chef and he's a pudgy fella. And every time he sees something like that, he goes, "I'm never gonna be a skinny man." And it's like it's like a hot dog burrito or something. And I'm like, we're just finding ways to make ourselves fatter at this point. Like there's a thing like they're called healthy junk food, and they were wrapping like the Costco chicken wrap in pizza and stuffing the hot dog into a chicken bake. And I'm just like, why are we doing this? This is why we're the way we are. We figure out ways to stuff fat foods into fattier foods. Everything's goddamn deep fried. Oh, it's awful.
Amazing. It's amazing.
It's awful.
It's the world we live in, and it's the best.
If you ever want to have a fun time, find any YouTube video of a European going into like a 7-Eleven and seeing the double gulp for the first time. And have them collectively just have them collectively lose their minds because nothing that big exists in Europe.
Yeah, I've seen this before, and the guy's like, why do you need this much sugar? And you're like,
why not, dude?
Delicious. Let me get fat in peace.
No, see, the people who get those like mega ones, they're always filled with Diet Coke, so they feel better about themselves.
You know, I did see something interesting on that the other day. The reason, like, they say not to drink Diet Coke, like, obviously, like, there's the possibility of, like, aspartame giving you cancer or whatever.
Right.
But, like, the one doctor pointed out, like, he's like, the really dangerous thing, like, if you go from Coke to Diet Coke, that's a healthier option.
Yeah.
But if you go from not drinking much soda to Diet Coke, thinking, oh, it'll be fine because I can get Diet Coke, the problem is like he gave some science about it.
It's the brain. It's a brain chemistry. It's in a brain chemistry thing.
It's basically like your body can't like the way your body normally digests the sugar. It like it doesn't break aspartame down that way, so it sends it to your like liver or kidneys or something, and basically it gets broken down and like it never goes through your system really. It's still sugar. And the problem is because it's still sugar, your brain starts making these connections and is like,
is that why?
This is sugar.
Is that why?
More sugar.
Is that why they're saying like, yeah,
not much soda to diet soda?
Is that why they're always like, you're making it worse?
You're gonna have more sugar in other ways. Yeah.
Is that why I need like I drink G Fuel every day because I'm at work in the afternoon. I'm gonna fall asleep, and it's like I don't want more coffee. And I see. Actually, the funny part is I work with two like legitimate like Chinese guys. Like my boss is Chinese and the boss like the space they share with is Chinese, and they have legitimate like Chinese like herb tea. Like this guy, the other guy like drinks it like coffee. And if you ever had this stuff, like it's legit. It's good stuff. And when I saw what it was, I was hoping he would like give me a bag one day. He hasn't given it to me. I'm like, you bitch. I would drink that shit all day.
It's all the same reason you're not supposed to have MSG.
I just want caffeine.
It's not because MSG is bad for you in any way, but it's because MSG like activates like a receptor like in your brain, and it's like different than almost anything else you can eat. And it basically makes you want to eat a bunch of unhealthy foods.
What if I just want caffeine?
Gotcha.
That's all I want. I just want caffeine.
Black coffee, man. Black coffee, dude.
I do that, but see, the problem is if I go because I used to do that, like I did it today. I'll have 2 cups in the morning, and then I have an afternoon like iced coffee as a pick me up in the afternoon.
Same. Yeah.
But I feel weird doing that during the week because then like I don't need people knowing in my office that I'm a coffee addict. Not because I want judgment, but I don't want to get.
It's only 3 cups. They're fine.
But it's like I don't need. See, I don't want to set the precedence that that I want nor need Starbucks gift cards come Christmas. I'm not setting that precedence. It's not happening.
But then you get Starbucks gift cards at Christmas, and then
That's true.
I mean, I'm down for that.
Yeah, maybe I should do that. Then I will get Starbucks gift cards, and I can just like when I do go to Starbucks, I'm not paying for it.
Right. Exactly. It's a win-win, I think.
Even though there is a
Caffeine
Svetsy
and
shop.
Starbucks.
There's a Svetsy coffee shop like down the street from where I work too. It's called Cactus
for
Coffee.
Me, I've found recently that my body just doesn't handle caffeine very well.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And so I've stopped drinking it super frequently.
Nice.
I just don't. I mean, it's not like I never have caffeine, but it's just more like
should I just be like every other adult and just get a Adderall prescription? Is that the answer to my problems? I had
to become like the rest of corporate America.
I had a friend legitimately put in a text chain that he's getting another prescription of Adderall to quote when I only want to focus for 4 hours.
Jeez.
And I'm just like, are we trying to make this more efficient? Okay, that is a level of something I've never had to hit.
That's nuts. I mean, coffee's cheaper, man. Like, why would
he drinks coffee? That's the funny part. I think the funniest bit, I don't know if this is true or not, but I find it hilarious that there were kids in college who found out they had ADD because they did coke and it did nothing to them. And that's when they realized, like, they went to their doctor and, had it, like, hey, I tried coke and it did nothing. Should I be worried? I'm like, oh, you have ADD. You know what?
I guess that's one way to find out.
Like, that's a hell way to find out when you're just like, this isn't doing anything. What the hell?
Yeah, that's when I guess you're supposed to go to like methamphetamines.
I guess you just got to work your way up.
Yeah.
I had somebody I knew on my mission. I obviously wouldn't reveal their name regardless, but who he had like extreme severe ADHD. Like if he didn't have his medication, he would like basically freeze up.
Mm-hmm.
And because his brain was like over whatever
stimulated,
overloaded.
And
yeah,
he literally had like this heavy prescription of like basically a offshoot of methamphetamine.
Jesus.
And it was like, what?
Don't worry, it's fine.
Like, it was like this huge prescription, but like he had to have it. Like his doctor prescribed. Like it's the only way he could like
literally jokes on you. That's not an actual doctor. That's his meth dealer.
I mean,
oh man,
no, but it is crazy. No, it's crazy. But I mean, when I say like obviously it's like illegal, like what you're allowed to take, sort of thing.
No, I know.
Like,
I mean this. I don't know how I survived college. Like, and I was a coffee addict in college, but it's like I don't think I could do college without coffee. Like, there's no way. That's why I became a coffee snob, too.
Well,
this whole podcast is called Coffee with Spects.
Yeah.
And yet we never talk coffee on it.
I mean, CJ and I can talk coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee, so you wouldn't be able to get much out of me.
What's your favorite roast?
I really like the Starbucks blonde roast. That's my favorite one. Yeah.
That's I get that every time I go there. That is a terrible choice.
Yeah, that's fine. I like it.
But it's Starbucks.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. Is it just one of those things where you're sort of like, it's easy to get, like it's a necessity thing?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like, I get a random one at the grocery store or whatever, and then we have like a badass coffee shop or whatever, the Hawaiian coffee. That place is ridiculously good.
I've had that before. Yeah.
It's way better than Starbucks, but Starbucks.
Their
is
beans.
Closer, so.
So there's a place called Buy Me called Clutch. If you're ever in California, if you're ever in SoCal, for whatever, like in the SoCal, I don't know if there's one in San Diego. It has to be like Inland LA Inland area. They are the number. Their espresso blend is award winning.
Really,
award winning. Best espresso in the world. Like, it's pretty good.
Nice.
And once you have it, you're gonna realize like there's steps here to like coffee, and there's
levels to this stuff, man.
Because see, I don't mean to be like sound like a coffee snob, but like Starbucks coffee in terms of like specialty coffee is like
right, yeah.
I don't mean that like in a bad way, because sometimes it's just because Starbucks are everywhere, so it's like that.
Right.
it's
easy to get to, and it's not $30 a.
Yeah, it's like it's $6. Like you can't really go wrong. I mean, like I hate Dunkin' Donuts, but everyone says Dunkin' Donuts is amazing.
Dunkin' Donuts sucks.
So, but like Starbucks is fine.
Too much sugar, man.
But it's just like their beans just aren't that great. But I understand like I mean, for a while I lived off Sumatra.
Gotcha. Well,
Sumatra,
yeah. So
like
then so you've tasted the better stuff. So you're like, get all this other trash out of here.
Basically. And like the whole thing is I can now tell you like blindly like if that's Starbucks roast or not. Because
Really?
Starbucks coffee black has a weird taste, has a taste to it, a distinct taste to it.
Interesting.
But where does Folgers sit for you guys?
Folgers?
No.
Like
No.
it's like Folgers is like the stuff you get at the mom and pop, like the mom and pop
whenever I
like
think
diner.
coffee, I just think there's this video on YouTube.
Oh, that incestual Folgers commercial Christmas ad.
Yeah.
Oh my god. How
Every
that commercial was so bad. Because I remember when it first came out, because it was like when did that ad actually like drop? When did that I want to know, when did that ad first came out? When did that commercial first drop? 2009. I want to know what was their logic for that? That was their Christmas ad for 2009. And it was called
Brother and Sister Home for Christmas.
The whole thing was it was wholesome, but it was like, why is there this underlying like sexual tension?
I mean, I guess they were just the visionaries to what's on the internet nowadays, I guess.
I found an article that like there's a GQ article that talks about it. So it might just be editing, because it's sort of like they have the director on here, or the executive producer, and he said at which he loved the idea of which an older brother coming home from West Africa was working the Peace Corps, and whose sister was at a certain age that she grew up quite a bit while he was away. She barely recognized him. In her playful manner, we worked with this other dude before who we adored, very, very good at casting and filming it in a way that was very observational, believable, and emotional.
Yeah, the commercial was weird.
I watched the original commercial for the first time.
It's weird.
That's weird. That's weird.
See, the whole thing is like, I get where they're coming from, and it's like
they should have. What the director should have done was like, okay, guys, let's try this again, but this time, like, I know you guys aren't actually siblings, but this time I can't have you guys like romantically interested in each other. Stop giving each other like weird looks. You're supposed to be brother and
pretend
sister.
This is your sister, please. Like,
I wonder. Part of me wonders if it was just really weird editing.
Could be. Like, yeah, it could have been an editor screwed up. Or maybe he was about to quit and he wanted to screw with people.
Because that ad is so odd. Because like somebody even says like, so there's this, in this article, it literally says, this was a very long time ago. If you asked me, I would end up being interviewed about this commercial that I worked on 10 years later or not believed you, because it was altogether pretty unremarkable. It's not something that I have a lot of memories about outside of that unfortunate commercial kind of seems like the brother and sister are going to have sex. That's why we're talking, right? Like, oh my God, that if you haven't seen this commercial, just find it. It'll blow your mind.
Or just read the comments.
At this supposedly wholesome Christmas ad about a brother and sister being reunited at Christmas.
I'm watching the what's it called now? So I watched the original. Now I'm watching the.
Someone homered, I'm guessing.
The parody.
Oh, the parody's even worse.
Parody.
The parody is not even like, they don't even hide it. They're just out there right flat out saying it.
Well, because they cut the original commercial into
Yeah. God, it's so bad. It's just, oh my God. Now we're talking about
The funny thing about the parody is there's one point where the dad attacks his son.
No! I've seen that.
And when he's on the ground, the son is just like grinning because the actor is just like, this is so ridiculous.
It's so stupid. The whole point is it low key? It's like it's kind of wholesome, but why?
No, I just want to. Oh gosh, the commercial.
So good.
God, Folgers.
And that's why their coffee's bad.
Speaking of bad, the Lakers are probably going to be in the play-in tournament.
Haha, you'll get the 8 seed and lose to the Nuggets.
I don't want.
That's the way to do things.
That's the one team I don't want to face is Denver, like at all.
I actually think the Lakers could challenge Denver, not win.
I was gonna say, you want to take that one?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, the Clippers winning today.
I'm not gonna sit here and say they'd win the series, but I think there'd at least be some interesting.
Yeah, the Clippers winning didn't help.
If we're being real, anytime you have LeBron and Anthony Davis on your team, you have a chance. It's just
it would just depend if like the right players got hot on the right nights.
Right, like you guys, like the Lakers would really need like Austin Reeves and Malik Beasley and guys like that to kind of go off.
Best games.
Yeah. And they would need the Nuggets bench, especially, to kind of be terrible, which we've seen a lot this year. So it's definitely possible.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess it's not locked up yet.
Oh, the play-in tournament?
Yeah, because if I
know the Pelicans and the Thunder are locked into where they are.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at now is it looks like 8 and 9 are locked in.
I think if the Lakers win and Golden State loses.
Who's Golden State playing tomorrow?
Portland. They're not going to lose.
Yeah, Portland's tanking.
So the good news is if the Lakers win the play-in game, then they'll play Memphis, I think.
Which I prefer.
Right, yeah, and they would end up with the 7 seed. Yeah.
And that would honestly be like very best case scenario for the Lakers.
And realistically, because they be playing the Thunder, I don't really see the Thunder giving them too much of a problem at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's like that one year where it's like, oh, they play one game and then they get like a week off. Like it's like whatever.
Right. I mean, if the Lakers do get Memphis, that's definitely a possibility to win. Like, because especially I think Steven Adams is out for the rest of the year.
I see him out.
Yeah, and John Morant just like hurt his finger. I don't know if
I didn't realize they were one game back. That they could technically get the 1 seed because they're only a game back going into tomorrow.
They can't because Denver has the tiebreaker because they won the season series. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's that. I mean,
2-game lead, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I really want it to be Lakers Kings, but it looks like it's going to be Kings.
Can the
Warriors.
Lakers get the 6 seed to play the Kings? No.
I think that Portland would have to win. I think, and I don't know who owns the tiebreaker.
Gotcha.
I don't know who owns the tiebreaker between Lakers and Clippers, or like Clippers and Warriors and Lakers. I think the Lakers do.
The Lakers actually do.
So
do they have the tiebreaker?
It's possible.
Oh, okay. For the 6 seed, the Lakers would need Portland to win, and the other games don't really matter. They need Minnesota to win too.
Who's Minnesota playing tomorrow? Pelicans.
Pelicans. And then there's another scenario where if the Pelicans win, they need Portland and the Clippers to win to get the 6 seed. But
the Clippers,
the Lakers won 3 games against the Warriors this year to 1. So if the Warriors somehow lost to they won't. Possible. But if they somehow lost to the Trailblazers, then the Lakers could be.
What's funny is they played the They played the Clippers. Really, they only lost by 11 to the Clippers today. It was basically the third quarter where the Clippers just did whatever weird thing they did.
I mean, the Clippers are just a weird team.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard's playing a lot.
I think the Clippers get bounced in the first round.
Yeah, I
agree.
Almost regardless of who they play against.
The whole thing is, I'm just gonna say this is someone who's been forced to deal with Russell Westbrook for way too long. If you're putting your faith in Russell Westbrook, it's not gonna end well for you.
Yeah, everybody's like, I have a friend who's a Clippers fan, and he's been like, "Oh my gosh, look at everyone's trash talking us for picking up Russell Westbrook, and look how good he's done now."
Give it time.
We lost the first 5 games.
Give it time. Give it time.
Yeah, like just wait, man.
They have Robert Covington. Wait, Robert Covington is still playing? What?
Yeah, the ghost of Robert Covington.
He's playing. He's a Clipper, and he's still What the heck, man? He's still playing.
With the Clippers, I think they still are scarred from losing a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets in the bubble.
Probably.
I think they still have like those skeletons that they just can't shake. So I agree. I think they lose whoever they play in the first round.
Nicholas Batum? Oh my God, these guys are still playing.
Yeah, that team is
old. What a game! What a wild!
I think if any team but the Lakers had won in the bubble, you would hear a lot less. But that was a bubble championship.
Oh, don't worry. I've said this before. I listened to a show. Like I said,
I think a lot of it's just LeBron.
I listened to it because I listened to the Dan Le Batard show, and they're out of Miami, and they're one of those like, it's a Mickey Mouse ring. It was the sight lines and stuff. And I'm like, if you motherfuckers won that title and beat the Lakers, you would be yelling that it counted. So shut your mouth, you goddamn Miami fans. Can I have a hot take. Since we're talking basketball, if Luka wants out of Dallas, I think he's gonna go to Miami.
Really?
He'd be a good fit,
and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Pat Riley has taken L after L with trying to get a star, and I don't think he'd pass up on a
thing is like
on Luka.
How would Miami even get him?
Goodbye, Hero.
Just because,
goodbye, literally every. I would just get rid of Hero.
Give them every pick. Hero.
I think if they want to keep, I think he and Jimmy Butler would do well because I think think what he needs is I was watching. Have you guys ever heard of Mike Horzimba? He's like an NBA YouTuber. But he was making the point, like, kind of Kobe in like 2005. That's when he like transitioned from like into like a leader sort of role. And I think he's saying like that's really what Luka needs. Is Luka just needs to like become a leader, and he might not be able to do that in He might not be able to do that in Dallas. It just might not be a thing. But if he goes to somewhere with a Jimmy Butler, who's just gonna be like. We're gonna kind of keep him in line, where it's like, type of thing. It's like maybe he's got to go play for Tom Thibodeau. I don't know, but like
in New York,
just say this: I called as soon as Dallas traded
for Kyrie.
For Kyrie, I went.
I don't think it was the Kyrie thing.
Oh, 100%.
The Lakers. No, it was a mistake.
It was 100% a mistake.
It's not Kyrie's fault per se. It's who they traded away.
Yeah.
To get Kyrie.
What was funny is
there's a reason that Brooklyn got better.
Well, you have to remember too. Who else? The one thing I think people forget. Who else? Who was the Dallas Maverick that ended up signing with the Knicks this offseason? I can't think of his name offhand.
I think that's a really good point.
Losing Brunson hurt a lot.
Jalen
Brunson hurt a lot.
Yeah, because that dude is a baller.
They were good this year before they traded for Kyrie.
Because,
they were good.
I don't know. Sometimes
they were better. I don't know if they were still like in like that 4 or 5 range in the West.
But
then they just tanked after.
That's true.
Yeah, but I think the problem too is, and someone meant like I think I only heard one podcast actually say this, and it was like on the Dan Le Batard Show network, where it's like the problem is when you get two guys like Kyrie and like Luka, it's one guy has to play on ball, one guy has to play off ball, and that's really hard to do, especially like the NBA trade deadline. Where how many games are there after the deadline? Like not a lot.
like
that,
20 maybe.
like that's so hard. It's so hard.
There's a reason that if like it was an option, I would still be okay with the Lakers trying to sign Kyrie, and that's because LeBron can play off ball.
No, that's what I'm
AD
saying.
Can play off ball.
I think that's
they have other players who can do it off.
Well,
ball,
that's
like,
why I think weirdly that's why like D'Angelo Russell this go around is working, because like he can play on ball. He and Schroeder can play on ball, and like it can kind of open. It opens up like the lanes for like Revis and all of them. Where if they, even with Kyrie, I think it would have been fine. But that's when they didn't have, because when you had, this is the Russell Westbrook problem, is Russell Westbrook is ball heavy. He's honestly, he's
literally why as soon as they traded for him, I was like, this is a mistake.
I didn't think it was necessarily a mistake when they traded for him. I
called it as a mistake. I said I will support Russell Westbrook, but this is a mistake. He is not the player we need.
I just wasn't sure if, because part of me thought like, okay, if we get him and he's like ends up being like more of a facilitator, where it's like, you know, he can get his 20, like he can still average double, but he's getting like, you know, 15 assists to like 10 points, which he didn't do.
I knew he wasn't going to do that though. That's the problem.
No, he's sort of becoming like,
the problem is even when he does do more of a facilitator thing, he's not facilitating the way that other players need him to.
Yeah, I think
was there like LeBron and AD?
What was
the only way that Westbrook's that he facilitates
is to himself.
He's created space for himself. Once he's created space for himself, then he passes out of that.
I have to go back.
LeBron and AD need more open like ball movement kind of thing, and Westbrook is not a guy where he's going to catch the ball and then pass it on to AD.
Yeah.
He's going to catch the ball, dribble around a bit, and then try to pass to AD, who is now being bullied by whatever guy in the middle.
I have to go back.
It was going to work.
I have to go back and look, because there was a video I watched a few years ago where it might have been another this video, where it was talking about how Russell Westbrook's MVP triple-double record season was actually a fluke, because what he would do if he was like rebound short, he would purposely shoot short, have it hit and get the rebound, and then put it back up, and then just put it back up on a second chance point. And so I think
just wanted to prove a point that year.
No, that's what
100%.
Because the whole thing was that somebody went back and there's like, he did this like every game he was close. He just started like, he would just pull up short on like layups and stuff just to get the rebound.
Right.
And like yell at his teammates if they got rebounds, and he didn't. It was wild. And I'm like, no way.
It shows that like that triple double thing, like there's important context to it, right? Because I think even when he won the MVP, averaging a triple double, I think they finished like 6th in the West or something.
Is he becoming the Andre Drummond? Is he another Andre Drummond, where he's just a useless potato?
I mean, kinda. Though at least Andre Drummond can like rebound well. I think Westbrook at this point is just like a net negative.
Is he?
You know, because he can't shoot. Like, he's ball dominant as anyone else in the league, and you know, it's tough to play with a dude like that, especially if you already have a superstar.
Yeah, not that he is one.
But
he still thinks he is.
I know.
Send
him to Miami.
The other thing that was funny was when the Lakers lost out on the trade for Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ended up with this trade with the Jazz and the
it worked out better.
Timberwolves. It was like, yeah, this is a much better situation for the Lakers. Like, the players they got back in that, it was like, this fills like most of the holes that they have.
I love Jared Vanderbilt. I was so pissed when the Nuggets traded him. I'm so jealous.
Is it weird
right now?
Is it time for us to say, you know, Rob Pelinka knows what he's doing? Because clearly that's not
I'd go that far.
Well, the whole thing is like, I don't think this is LeBron doing it. I don't think this is LeBron saying, get me Jared Vanderbilt and D'Angelo Russell, is what I'm saying. That's my point.
I have a friend who he's a Lakers fan, but because he's a Lakers fan, he feels the need to be like a LeBron person now.
Mm-hmm.
And so him and I have had arguments like when this season started poorly, we had this huge argument where I was like, look, The problem wasn't the front office. The problem was LeBron, who recruited Westbrook instead of allowing Buddy Hield to be traded.
This is what. How many times did you and I have this discussion of if LeBron just like kept his damn mouth shut, the Lakers would have Buddy Hield.
Yeah. Like, seriously, though, that's like...
This is literally stuff that CJ and
I... GM at it again.
This is what... This is...
I told him that, and he's like, well, LeBron's not the GM,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, no, but here's the problem.
He has such a say.
Pelinka just ignores LeBron, then LeBron goes to Jeannie and says, look, I don't like that. And then she goes... Rob, we don't need you. You're out. We'll get another yes man to come in.
Like, you know what's funny?
You can't say no to the second greatest NBA player ever.
But what's so funny is when the Lakers had Kobe, and this is what's funny to me, and this is I don't understand what changed, is when Kobe was there, and you know damn well Kobe would pound on Kupchak's door because he did in 06, 07, where he's like he wanted to get traded to he wanted to go to Chicago. Yeah. He's banging on his door saying, get me out of here. And Kupchak is like, no. And granted, Jerry Buss was still around. The good doctor was still around. So it's different. But it's like the Lakers organization up until LeBron has never really catered to one guy. And I know Kobe wanted, I'm sure Kobe was would tell Kupchak, hey, get this guy. And I'm sure 9 times out of 10, he was like, no.
What was it, 2011, 2012? Kobe wanted Brian Shaw, and the Lakers went out and hired Mike D'Antoni. No. That wasn't when they hired D'Antoni. That was when they hired Mike Brown.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
You want Mike Brown over Brian Shaw? Who's making these decisions?
I don't. Well, the whole thing was, the funny part is I remember when they got D'Antoni, when D'Antoni got the job, he said somewhere where he was like, I thought I got called in to just go through the motions because he thought they were going to just get Phil again. He's like, oh, Phil's going to get this job. Then he got the call that he got the job, and he was like, I'm sorry, what? You didn't, basically, you not going with Jackson again? Jackson's not coming back for one last ride, and then he went to New York and tanked the Knicks. I guess he didn't tank the Knicks.
He tanked the Knicks.
Already bad. It was rough. He just kept them bad.
He drafted Porzingis.
Yeah. To be fair, and who's Porzingis now?
Yeah,
decent.
He's in DC. On Washington.
For a second, looks like he was gonna be a Hall of Famer, but now he's just kind of slightly above average.
Yeah, he's that above average 7-footer that is hurt half the time.
That's every 7-footer.
Yeah, except for Jokic.
Because Jokic is a freak, dude. When Jokic murdered Morris, the superior Morris brother. And who was it? Yeah. Who was it that was talking smack on Twitter? And his two brothers were like, "Oh, you don't do that." And you see the brothers.
Oh no, yeah, it was the other Morris brothers talking crap. Yeah, then Jokic's older brothers, who are very rough and tumble dudes, made a Twitter account.
I'm convinced they're Serbian mobsters who are very much okay with taking out whoever they need to.
Hey, you said that, not me.
I'm just saying.
Jokic is who we thought Zion Williamson was gonna be.
Dude, give Zion. I'm telling you, get Zion.
A less athletic Zion. Man, 100%.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
I stand by this.
If he had a clean bill of health,
get Zion out of where he doesn't want to be and put him in the Mecca. That man's gonna murder people.
Yeah, for 20 games a year, and then he'll be hurt.
No, he'll be fine.
I just want better training staff.
I want nothing more than Zion to just dominate. I don't care if it's in New York. I don't care if it's in Los Angeles. I don't care if it's in.
I agree. The dude's incredible.
I just want willing to spend the money to say, look, we're gonna sit you for the first half of this year, even though you could technically play, but we have this world class training stuff that's going to strengthen your whole body, basically.
I don't think I don't think he ever really wanted to be in New Orleans. I don't think he ever wanted to be in New Orleans because everything that was leading everything that was leading up to the draft was he really wanted to go to New York.
Yeah.
And it's
one day.
Now they're in a position where it's they could ultimately just let him go.
I mean, I think they end up having to blow that thing up eventually. No one, that team is never going to be fully.
I mean, they already did
because Brandon Ingram is hurt all the time. He gets injured pretty frequently.
Blonde, just like the guys they sent over for Anthony Davis, Josh Hart's and
he's in New York now.
He's in New York.
he's playing with
Ingram's
Brunson.
hurt all the time. Lonzo Ball's like gonna be forced to retire at this
He's in
point.
Chicago.
Yeah, he's in Chicago.
He's gonna have to retire because his knee just like is basically.
Yeah, he's having like a third surgery. Basically, he's gonna miss all.
Well, there
next
were
year.
reports
Like,
where like doctors were saying like we haven't seen anything like this. Like we don't know what's going on. And
what even started that? Did he like tear an ACL or something? Or I don't even remember him getting like
he hurt it
to start all that.
I don't even remember what the initial injury was.
Well, and what's weird is now even LaMelo is starting to get hurt all the time.
Yeah. I don't know.
And so it's like, are the Ball brothers just like destined to be like
made of
I wonder
like, these super promising, like even Lonzo when
it's a cartilage.
Like,
it's a cartilage issue. Like, there so somebody says it's like a cartilage thing, which is I wonder if it's something that has to do with like I didn't play basketball, I only played baseball, so I don't like explosiveness isn't really my thing. But I wonder if it just has something to do with like because they're tall. Like Lonzo's 6'6", LaMelo is what? LaMelo's taller, right?
6'8".
He's 6'7". Yeah. I mean, these guys are tall. They're athletic. Like that stuff has got to be like stretched, and with how they have to move, like I mean that unfortunately that's those are injuries just sort of waiting to happen.
Well, and the sad part about all that is these are guys who, with the right amount of like in the right situation, could potentially be MVP caliber players.
No, that
LaMelo for sure.
No, I mean I don't doubt it.
Lonzo would be kind of close to that.
He'd definitely be like an all-star level.
The whole thing is like
the problem is like all of a sudden it's like nope. Your bodies just don't want to play.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to remember, like these guys are tall. Like apart from like stress fractures and stuff, like if they're not, I don't even know how, like if their knees just aren't strengthened, like they're just gonna. That's the problem.
No, their height and the way they have to play with explosiveness, jumping all the time, like sharp cuts. Yeah. It's so important for them to take care of their body. I think more than almost any other sport. Yeah. Especially when it comes to stuff like yoga and things to like stretch, keep themselves limber. Like they can't just be lifting weights all the time.
And the whole thing is LaMelo I watched him in high school. Like LaMelo was clearly like the most athletic out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like Lonzo probably had the best like all around game, but LaMelo was definitely like, oh, he's the most athletic out of the three. Like
right.
LiAngelo is kind of like meh. It's still the meh one.
Well, yeah, he's not even in the league.
I think he's been in the G League.
He's been in the G League and he's kind of busy shoplifting in China and stuff. So
the whole thing is I don't even think that necessarily like did anything to hurt his draft stock or anything. It's just
he's just not good.
He's okay. The problem is like he's a 6'5" small forward, like
right. And if his name wasn't Ball, would he even like get a look though?
I mean,
I think that has a lot to do with it. It's kind of like the Antetokounmpo brothers, like
Beyonce.
Yeah, maybe they're in the G League and stuff, but it's a lot of it has to do with the name. I think that the reason those guys are on NBA rosters.
I mean, part of it too is
in some cases.
I mean, part of it too though is like you're gonna get like depth's always a thing, honestly. And if like you can do like if you can excel at one thing, excel at one thing. But I think he does. I don't think he's necessarily to that point where it's like, hey, just become a spot 3-point shooter. Then you can find a spot anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably his big thing. Is like no one's ever said like, hey, why don't you just find one thing to be good at? So.
Yeah, I think it's hard for dudes who especially are like crazy good in high school and college to kind of accept like, oh, this is my role in the NBA. Like, I feel like a lot of these guys are like, oh, I'm going to be a superstar. I'm going to be a dude carrying a team. So when they're asked to like, hey, you're a 3-and-D player now, I think that's kind of hard for dudes to kind of swallow and accept.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
when they do, like, look at what happens. Like JJ Redick.
Yeah.
It's such a big deal in high school and college. But then when you get to the NBA, it took him a few seasons, but once he accepted it, he became premier at what he did.
Right, and he played like 15 years.
If you're willing to accept it, you can become well known, just not for what you were hoping.
Yeah.
The
You're
problem,
not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but you'll make millions upon millions of dollars.
the problem is athletes are.
People will pay you $15 million a year because you're going to spot up and shoot threes and make
Right.
20 points. You know, not maybe but like 18 wins a game or whatever.
The problem is athletes are delusional, especially at the end of their career. Like, I mean, not to point fingers at, like, I love Chuck Nasty, but Chuck Nasty needs to retire already. Like, that guy's taking 18.5, like, I think 18.5 million this year.
Thing is, though, if you're in a contract and you're making that kind of money, like, it's hard to say no.
No. The funny, like I said, I love Chuck Nasty. I love him. I think he's got a mullet and a beard that I love. You know, I love him. I love him like a father. But was he getting paid? I'm just curious. What is that for the Marlins?
Getting paid a lot.
When is he a free? I'm just curious. When is he a free agent? When is his contract up? Is it this year or next year? Next year. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You have another year of him.
That's all right. The Rockies aren't going anywhere.
The whole thing is like, I mean, I guess looking at his numbers, he's not exactly like doing horrid.
No, I mean, he's still a decent hitter. It's just defensively now he is like, he used to be a really good center fielder.
Hey, you got the DH.
Wait, is the DH a thing in the NL now?
Yeah, universal DH, so you can just DH. Yeah.
Did they change that? Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, they can DH now.
Old baseball guys didn't complain?
Oh no, they did. Don't worry.
Oh,
man, I was having a conversation in my stream earlier today when I was streaming. I was doing my 90-minute stream today, where there was somebody was like, "I like old baseball better," and I'm like, "Yeah, the pitch clock, take it or." I think the pitch clock they needed to implement.
Yeah, I mean, it's cut like a half hour off of games. Like, you kind of have to do that.
I think they need to tweak it a little bit, but I think it's a good idea. Because I mean, I've said this before. I hate the idea of like, pick off. Like, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah.
Those are the worst parts of the game to watch. When
it's so bad.
Hey, we're waiting for this big thing to happen.
My favorite, my favorite thing was, if you can find it, it's probably available. It was someone Diaz, and it was like, how many times like an inside Jose Altuve hit inside the park home run to this guy's like second pitch, and it's like a 2-minute long like step off, look in, step off. And it's just like, even Joe Buck was getting annoyed by what was going on here. Like, that's saying something when Joe Buck's like, "Can we move this along, please?"
Right.
Oh my God.
Now baseball needed to do something. And I mean, the rules make way more sense. Like, I would actually watch a game now. Like, I don't think I've really watched a full baseball game for 6 or 7 years.
Also,
a lot of that has to do with the Rockies. Yeah, but even then, like, just sitting through a game is it's a chore.
It can get like it can drag on for sure.
Yeah.
Unlike football.
Yeah. Oh, and even football has the same issue. It's just, thank God red zone exists.
I was gonna say, what was that thing I hear about football? I don't know if it's true or not, but something's like the amount of action in football is actually less than the action in baseball.
Yeah,
from end to end.
5 minutes or something of action.
I know. I don't think I didn't really watch the Super Bowl this year because I was up north and I was playing with my nephews, my niece and nephew. But it was like, I didn't feel like I saw it at basically every scoring play, even though I wasn't actively paying attention.
Honestly, that's all you need at this point.
I didn't watch the halftime show.
Oh, you didn't watch Rihanna?
I
played all the greatest hits, dude.
I think I saw it like every so often, but I was like my buddy's barbecuing, so that's guy time.
Right.
And stuff, and like, what am I gonna do? Play with my niece and nephew or watch a pop star that I know like 4 songs for? I'm like, yeah. Playing in the dirt seems way more fun.
Yeah.
When's Aaron Rodgers? We'll end on this. When is Aaron Rodgers gonna go to the Jets?
Soon. Before the NFL draft.
When is that?
Didn't they get it done?
No. At this point, I kind of hope they don't.
It's kind of it's really interesting though, because like
they both
they've taken so long. Like, either the Jets are gonna cave and like give them way more than what Aaron Rodgers is probably worth, or they're going to they're going to not trade for Aaron Rodgers and kind of screw up this, like, kind of what their entire plan is. And the Jets, I feel like, are kind of in like a no-win situation. Which,
I said
mean,
this.
that's
I said this earlier. I said
they're going to get more, give more draft stock up.
I said this.
Than he is worth.
100%.
I said this to Bryce earlier. I said, if I'm the Packers, because I think the Packers GM hates Aaron Rodgers, and I think Aaron Rodgers hates the Packers at this point for whatever reason, whatever it is. But I'm like, realistically, Packers should just say, screw it. I don't care if you play. You can go rot at home for all I care. They're in no position to trade him. Bryce thinks I'm crazy. He's like, they're not going to pay him that much money just to rot. And I go, they might out of spite.
They'll trade him where he doesn't want to go.
I think that's a pretty good.
But it's like, where does he?
They'll either trade him to the Jets or trade him to where he doesn't want to go.
But it's like, where does he not want to go?
The Texans.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. I didn't think
I'll trade him for a slightly used Russell Wilson.
But like on that, in that scenario, it's like, where would they? Okay, let's say they trade him, like they say, like, hey, Carolina, you want? We'll take the first overall pick.
Oh, Carolina says hell no.
No, but it's like, but I'm saying, like, that's essentially the scenario we're saying, right?
I know that Denver fans have a bad taste of Russell Wilson, but my projection for him actually is that he has a good comeback year next year.
Couldn't be worse.
Under different coaching staff, I honestly think it's.
I thought Nathaniel Hackett was some sort of god, like was supposed to be like some sort of like offensive guru. Like, what happened?
I think he still is a good offensive coach. I think he's a terrible head coach.
Is that what it is? It's like he's just one of those guys where it's like, just be a coordinator.
Yeah, just be a coordinator. And let's be real. I think a lot of the reason Hackett got so much love is because he had Aaron Rodgers as quarterback.
Is it the same?
I think part of the reason Denver brought him in to try to get Aaron Rodgers, and then it turned out being Russell Wilson.
It's gonna sound really dumb.
He screwed everything up.
It's sound really stupid. But when you said that, I had the comparison, like the Adam Gase thing, where it's like, Peyton Manning loved Adam Gase, loved him.
Yep.
He sucked as a head coach, but Manning loved him.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's what happened. And you add on the fact that Nathaniel Hackett didn't know what timeouts were, or how to throw a challenge flag and crap like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's he clearly was just sort of he might just be like a guy. He's like, I know X's and O's. I don't know really much of anything else.
Right. Yeah.
I can.
And it doesn't help that the Broncos, and I agree that Russell Wilson will have a bounce back year because Sean Payton, I think, is an amazing coach. They were decimated by injuries last year on offense. Their offensive line got hurt. Javonte Williams got hurt. So eventually we were starting Latavius Murray, who we picked up in week 10. Tim Patrick got hurt. So yeah, I think I agree. I think Russell Wilson will bounce back, but last year I was super excited, and now I'm just not going to get excited.
But you're in such a different division, because in that division now, quarterback wise, the Raiders are done.
It's true.
The Raiders
maybe
are
that's
out.
an Aaron Rodgers place. Maybe.
If I'm putting, I'm gonna say this: if I'm putting the Raiders on getting a quarterback, I think it's the guy out of New England.
You think so? Didn't they sign Jimmy Garoppolo?
They signed Jimmy G. Yeah, I think I have a hunch that he'd rather get his Patriot guys. Honestly, I mean, you had McDaniels as your head coach.
He's horrendous.
I think that's part of it, and I think this.
Yeah.
I hate Josh McDaniels, not because he left the Colts up and dry, because Jim Irsay took a nasty shit in the toilet, but I think I really do think Josh McDaniels is just a fucking idiot when it comes to building a team, and all he when he went back to, I think he went back to New England with the idea of Belichick's going to retire soon and we'll just, slide you up the ladder. And that didn't happen because now Belichick's I need to win another goddamn ring to prove that bitch Tom Brady that I'm better than him. And he can't do it with, numbskull white boy over there. So,
but yeah, I agree. Josh McDaniels seems to take whatever opportunity is given, blow it up, and just try to make it New England 2.0.
Because I don't understand.
Traded Jay Cutler in his third year in the NFL when we're this guy's going to be a future Pro Bowler.
Yeah, because the wild thing is like I look at Derek Carr, and I know Raider fans hate Derek Carr, but I'm like, he's not. Even this last year, like solid. He's not. He's like, oh, he isn't hitting Devontae Adams. He's not hitting Devontae Adams, and I'm like, that's not a Derek Carr thing. Like that's like for whatever reason, like they're misinterpreting routes, or the weird thing of like, maybe the head coach is a moron.
Yeah.
Because honestly, though, another part of it though is who are their other options to throw to?
They had Waller before they traded Darren Waller to the Giants because apparently Josh McDaniels is a sourpuss who didn't get invited to the wedding.
Yeah, so it's just like,
but that's true.
Renfro?
Yeah, God, Hunter Renfro. Jesus Christ!
How do you expect to get the ball to the one guy that you have to throw to? It's like
the funny thing. I don't know. Like, it's baffling to me at like the things Josh McDaniels is going to do at like another organization. And then you got the Chargers, who God, if they, I don't know how Brandon Staley has a job at this point. It's beyond me. But
it's incredible he still has a job.
Like you got the Chargers, and then the Chiefs will probably win it again. So I don't. I mean, good on you. You might be second.
Yeah, I'll take a wild card. I mean, we're gonna have to deal with Mahomes for the next 15 years, and I'm not excited about it.
I mean, Austin Eckler wants out, so if you need a running back, you can try to get Eckler.
He can come home to Denver, man.
Yeah, I mean, he could. He wants out. Kid. I guess he's pissed off at Staley.
Yeah,
but I doubt the Chargers let him walk to the.
They did with Gordon.
And then Gordon got cut because he fumbled like every other
Gordon
play.
has like a hand, like can't do anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's my team, the Colts, who are gonna have to draft a guy who eats a banana like an animal and puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
And here I am, a Rams fan, having tasted the Super Bowl recently, but
you got a ring. Shut your dirty whore mouth. You have a ring. Hey, shut up.
Pretty sure all of us have gotten a ring in like the last 10 to 15 years. So I mean, that's
2006. It's almost been 20 years.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
All my teams are working on 20 years without a ring, except for the Lakers, and I'm just like,
I was like, you have the Lakers.
I have I've sort of said at this point that I'm just like, I'm numb to like mediocrity.
Yeah.
At this point, it's just sadness envelops my soul. Like the Angels, I think the Angels are winning, so Angels are doing okay, but I'm sure the Angels won, that they'll find a way to hurt me. They're in first place. They're in first place. That won't last.
Guess who pitched a solid into an inning?
What?
Loop.
Yeah, good for him. I'm glad he
did a nice inning. They brought him in, and I was like,
it couldn't be any worse.
No.
Considering they were already like second guessing nothing last night. Ducks suck. Ducks can't even tank correctly. The Colts are a goddamn dumpster fire. You know what I want? I want the Colts to trade for Lamar Jackson. Screw Anthony Richardson. Screw Will Levis. Get me that man.
It's crazy no one has traded.
I will trade my right nut for him.
Lamar Jackson yet.
I will trade the 4th overall pick for Lamar Jackson.
That's the thing. You don't even have to trade for him. He's a free agent or a restricted free agent.
I know, like Ursay's like
crazy. No one has given him a giant contract.
Because I don't think
the Ravens to match.
Because the funny thing is, I don't think they want to give the guaranteed money. Because even Ursay was like, I don't feel comfortable giving that much guaranteed. And the whole thing is, I'm like,
if you're an owner,
because I'm like, well, who gives a shit?
Right, like
baseball does it all the time.
5 quarterback. Yeah,
that's my whole thing. Is I'm like, baseball does this shit all the time, where they give guaranteed money and they don't give 2 flying fucks.
Yeah,
like
honestly, you can give him the guaranteed money, and if it ends up not working out after a year, like he's hurt or whatever, you could probably flip him pretty easily.
Probably. And the whole thing about it too is like, if you have him and Jonathan Taylor's got 3 years left before he's gonna shit the bed.
Dude's disgusting.
So it's like, just do it now. Get Lamar, sign whatever the hell he wants and run with it. Because right now, that has to be a conversation like this, like the South is having, whether it's Tennessee, Indy, apart from Jacksonville, because it's like, if you literally get him, you're running that division for however long you have him.
Yeah.
because there's
100%.
no other because Indy and Houston are drafting quarterbacks. Tennessee's probably gonna have to draft a quarterback. There's 3 new quarterbacks.
Tannehill's done.
Tannehill's I mean, I guess they can go with Malik, but it's like,
Yeah.
what do you have to lose at this point? There's no compensation. So if you really are like, hey, we got Lamar, we signed Lamar, but we can draft like Will or Anthony Richardson.
Right. And what's crazy is it's not just the AFC South, but the NFC South too.
Yeah,
like their best
I know
quarterback is Derek Carr now. In that
I know
division.
they keep saying
I've heard a lot
of people say like Lamar in Atlanta would be like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're not doing it. It's crazy to me.
But it's wild. If Denver would have waited a year, they could go after Lamar.
Yeah, nice. You know, I'm pulling for my boy Russell Wilson doing high knees in the plane. You know,
that can't be a real story, right? There's no shot.
That's a real thing.
There's no shot,
have you seen
right?
Russell Wilson at all?
No, I have, but I'm like, oh my God.
Do you know what's funny with Russell Wilson? He brought in a quarterback coach towards the end of last year, like a personal coach for himself.
Yeah.
Who was recruited highly by BYU back in like 2008, I think. It was Jay Keeps, who I think then transferred to like Kansas, and then like basically went on to do sports radio in Washington. Then quit his job to go be Russell Wilson's quarterbacks coach.
That is
and
wild.
It's funny because he's this washed out college quarterback.
I mean, to be fair,
the Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the NFL.
To be fair, isn't that what Kellen Moore did? Like Kellen Moore was a washed up quarterback who's now like an offensive guru, and who became the scapegoat in Dallas, who's now in Los Angeles with the Chargers.
The difference though is this other guy jumped from radio.
Yeah.
So you're telling me it'd be weird if
are
you telling me it'd be weird if Colin Cowherd got the job as a GM somewhere? Are you telling me that would be weird to you? I punished. So we have a running joke.
Let's just go get Russillo to teach some dude how to do a jump shot.
So we have a running joke in our Angel group chat where it's like we send people to a penalty, like a metaphorical penalty box under the ocean, and because someone moved to like the middle of Central California, so they can't short drive to the water anymore. I told him he has to listen to 10 minutes of The Herd. Have you seen his commercials? I know this is a weird tangent. I said we'd wrap up, but have you seen these commercials? If you watch like FS1 or anything, I think they're on Fox. If you can find, I'm gonna see if I can find it on YouTube. But this is like the ego on Cowherd is something to marvel at. Let me see if I can find it.
Dude, I don't think I've listened to Cowherd in years.
Let me see. Can I find this commercial? Because it's fucking wild. It literally, the phrase of the best part, the phrase that got me was the word, and I quote word for word, "It doesn't matter how many times I'm right, you will still find a reason to hate me." And the funny part is he's not right too often.
No.
Nope.
Like, I think he lost. I think he lost in football picks alone because the Dan Le Batard show would just pick a random celebrity to pick against Colin Cowherd. Jericho, famous wrestler Jericho, beat Colin Cowherd in a season and was like on a 6-week win streak at like, I think he won like 14 straight weeks against Colin Cowherd. Like, Cowherd he
doesn't know his stuff.
I don't think it's a matter of
he's phoning it in at this point. He's like, I had that giant Fox contract. I'm just chilling now.
All he wants to do is his volume stuff. He's got his own podcasting over the volume. Like, he can mail in his radio show. He can just say whatever the hell he goddamn wants. He's basic. Yeah. The whole thing is Cowherd actually is really, really smart on the back end. I think he's just at this point, like, doesn't really give 2 fucks about the radio anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
probably true.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, and before we wrap up, my question is, if Russell Westbrook Russell Wilson, if he does have a comeback year next year, will the meme of Broncos Nation, let's ride, will that die if he has a comeback year next year.
No, it'll live with us forever, and it'll get louder. I guarantee it. They'll start printing shirts, dude.
He can freaking win the Super Bowl next year, and people will
It's
be
gonna
like,
be the speech at the Super Bowl as he gets the
That's
MVP
right.
trophy. Yeah, Broncos Nation, we rode, and then
You know what would be funny is if he won the Super Bowl, and then like they go like he's holding up, he has the trophy in his hand.
Broncos Nation, let's
like,
ride.
They're like, do you have anything to say about winning the Super Bowl? And he's like,
Broncos Nation.
Broncos Nation, let's ride.
Yep, 100%.
I found an old.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
I found an old Herd commercial from back when he was on ESPN Radio, and it's quite literally the same goddamn commercial he just made. Him giving a weird take on a dog and his tricks. It's the same shtick. His shtick hasn't changed in years.
He's getting paid millions of dollars to give it, and people will.
I can do that.
People eat it up, man.
I can do that. I do that. I do it in print.
Yeah, exactly.
I literally linked a story. I can't. In my latest article, I literally linked a story saying I literally said the Mariners were fault and then would suck this year, and then played the other side and said, "Don't worry if they suck; they'll be okay." I literally played both sides so I could come out on top. I have become the thing I hate. And I've never been more proud of myself.
The very thing you swore to destroy.
No, that's fine. I'm cool with it. The difference is I'm very much aware of it. I don't care. I was raised.
So this is your Darth Vader story arc. Is that?
No. This is my Darth.
Should I be on the ground here and be like, "I hate you"?
No. You see. Here's the bit. Here's the bit. The thing is, I'm not raised by like Cowherd, Cowherd and Mad Dog. I'm the Dan Lebatard Stu Gotts guy, where Stu Gotts will just say two different takes, and you have to decide which one was actually the right take. That's what I do. I say outlandish shit, and no one calls me out on it because I was like, "Yeah, and your point."
Credit for it.
You can try.
Yes,
I had
you were the chosen one.
I already had to say
You're
I had
to destroy those who take both sides, not join them.
I had to eat I had to eat Crow and Luis Rengifo like so many times, and I'm still just like whatever.
You're still eating Crow on that.
I'm still am like every time Perry posted, I go, I get it, I was wrong.
In fact, I can't wait till we do eventually have him back on. He can keep telling you how wrong you were about Rengifo.
Whatever. All right, CJ, do your shtick, do the salt promo stuff. Because I know it's 10 o'clock for you guys, so you old man gotta get to bed.
Yeah, we're old. Yeah, I guess you could hit me up on Twitch or Twitter, CJ Initial. I stream every Friday because I'm a part-time streamer. So, yeah, that's it.
He used to do YouTube videos, but he's too old now.
Yeah, I don't have the time now.
Fun fact.
Exhausting.
Fun fact. This is probably my favorite thing about CJ he's ever done. He for a while in Sword and Shield, he was trying to hatch for a shiny Zigzagoon, and he never got it. And I think you still have eggs in your box.
Oh, 100%. I think that's the last time I played that game.
Can you go back?
I probably hatched like 800.
Just for me, can you go back and just finish it off? Because I kind of want to see if this pain continues. I'm not gonna
I'll finish it off one of these Fridays. Yeah,
just 100%. One of these Fridays. Just be like, all right, I gotta finish this. Just do like another 100. If it doesn't happen, then just like forget it.
Just delete the save file.
Honestly, I would, because that was like, I remember watching it on Saturday mornings.
Yep.
And it was just like, this one will get it. Nope. This one will get it. Nope. I forget at what point, but I think at some point you could tell when the life in your eyes just faded.
Yeah, it was probably at like hour 10 or 15.
Because it was like a good 3. It was a good 3 weeks in a row.
At least. Yeah. No, it was rough. It was not great.
So bad. That was like me with the Hornet. That took me 2 hours to get in one of my Borderlands 2 runs.
Yeah.
2 hours. But I got it.
Nice.
I'm gonna go download Valheim.
So you can get trained on it before I play with you, so that way it's not like Terraria.
No, so I don't forget, so I don't look like a jackass
someone.
like I did with CJ last time we were gonna play the campaign.
Just like, oh, but downloaded the wrong thing.
I literally went, oh fuck, I played
tonight.
the wrong thing. All right, well, leave a like, subscribe, all that if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, please rank. It helps us out a lot. Just us, I mean Bryce, not CJ. Unless CJ wants to come on and be the third host. I threaten to replace Bryce all the time. Like I can put you on the list as a possible replacement.
Although I've been bullying you less and less recently, so maybe I'll be safe.
Maybe, because now I'm a mod in your chat, so I can ban you.
Basically.
All right, well, have a good one. I'll be uploading content all throughout the flipping week because the content never stops. So
and I'll be live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So as per usual.
Little teaser from me. I'm writing a very special article that hopefully I'll get done by Friday for Jackie Robinson Day, and it'll tie into video games because I'll be talking about
what. If you want to find out Spects' real name,
I will be talking about MLB The Show and how they did the Negro League stuff. So check that out on Friday. We'll see you guys next Monday for this. So have fun, CJ. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See you guys.